Hello, I'm your host Mandy and I head up marketing here at Zenith. Welcome to the second video. There are two more to go. This week, the benefits of a subscription model. Don't buy, subscribe. This week, we have an expert showing how to develop cash while building a sustainable economy. Mark, I'm going to hand it over to you to speak to our finance expert and introduce yourselves so that people can understand the formula in financial terms. So keep listening, viewers. Mark, over to you.
Thanks, Mandy. I'm joined by Mark today from CF Corporate.
Hi, Mark.
I've been in the game for about 20 years, and we've been financing equipment mostly around on our managed print services side for 20 years, but that's really starting to change now and adapt. And it's interesting to get Mark's feedback on this, how things are changing. Are people adapting this different model? Subscription for, has been part of vehicle financing and all other equipment financing for businesses for ages, but really IT tech has sort of seemed to stay out of the mix. And just, today, hopefully, we'll get some insights from Mark and myself on how that's changed.
Yeah, so Mark, maybe you can tell us, has Zenith adopted a subscription model for IT?
We have actually, and really, we also had some of the similar challenges we went through in that first webinar with Paul. Really just trying to keep ahead of the technology stack. Things were changing so fast for our business, and so bringing that technology stack came in, allowed us to be as flexible as we wanted to, but gave us a set cost base that we really needed in those tricky times to understand where our costs were going and understand that cost and better use our cash for things that allowed us to advance.
Excellent. So Mike, welcome. Do you want to tell us?
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mike Yannick. I'm the Group Sales Director for CF Corporate Finance. We're part of the Investec group of companies. And we've been working so hard over the last few years. Certainly, the COVID period gave us an opportunity to review how we were going to move the business forward and how we can help businesses who have suffered greatly over the last few years in terms of moving forward with their technology acquisitions. And really what we're looking at is how we can sort of make businesses understand that utilizing financial services is nothing new to anybody. Personally, everybody understands about car loans or mortgages or credit card loans, whatever it may be. In business, business development loans have always been relevant to businesses. And what we want to talk about, I suppose, and understand is the differences between capital expenditure and operating expenditure. And so that's really one of the topics that's hot on our agenda at the moment.
Yeah, very good. So last week we talked to Paul on how old technology buying used to work. So how would they do it in the old days, Mike? Just refresh the audience.
Well, I mean, certainly within the technology market, and when I mean technology, I mean PCs, laptops, mobile technology, tablets nowadays,
screens and everything, screens and all the peripherals and everything else.
Yeah, days, I mean, funny enough, outside of the reprographics market, which has adopted financial services and embraced it for so many years, the technology market really hasn't. And we're working really hard to change the way the market operates. And some of the products that we've developed over the last 3 years, I think are going to be real game changers in the UK market. And so that's what we've been working on, innovation and helping businesses understand that they shouldn't be worried about utilizing financial services. Because in our opinion, even if businesses are cash rich, doesn't mean they have to spend it, because there are so many important things that businesses can use their cash for. Probably more important than acquisition of technology, increasing their workforce, which is the lifeblood of a business, improving the infrastructure of their business, so many things. So we're trying to actually show businesses they have got options.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So Mike, it sounds really compelling. Can you explain how that subscription model would work for people?
Of course. Our subscription model, which we are calling Flexscription, which is a combination of two words, flexible and subscription, and that's exactly what it is. We looked at a market, a mature market, and that was the vehicle market, and tried to understand how that worked. And what we've done is applied a similar model to our Flexscription product, in that what we have is we apply what's called a residual value to help bring the price, the monthly or quarterly price that the customer pays down to around what the cost of the equipment is. And then we have an interest in the equipment at the end of the agreement. However, unlike our competitors, what we've chosen to do, which is what the vehicle market does, is explain to the customer what their end of subscription options are at the beginning of the agreement. So there are no hidden surprises. In effect, we call it future-proof leasing, because it actually tells them what's going to happen in 1, 2, 3 years, or even 4 years' time. So they know exactly where they stand at the moment they choose to subscribe to purchasing their equipment.
And I think that's such a big thing, Mark, because actually one of the fear factors for taking on that financing is the unknown at the end. What's, where you're
Very
at,
much so.
what did you actually, and it takes away some of the options that companies have by going through traditional purchase option, where they can then sweat the asset, keep the asset for a longer period. You don't know what happens in time, so giving that flexibility is such a key piece of what you guys do.
Absolutely. And our Flexscription model does give the customer that option, if they so choose, to keep the equipment at the end. But the important thing is they know what that's going to cost them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now,
right
rather
at,
than
right
at the end.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because what we don't want, and which does go on in the UK market, is that there are hidden surprises, and we don't want any hidden surprises. We want total visibility and total transparency for the customer.
Yeah. So I think that also brings in this, what they call it the circular economy, because obviously you've got a return value of that equipment. It can then go back to being repurposed. Give us a little flavor what that what that means to you guys. Do you have a similar model in place? Are you looking at it? Of
course, yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we all hear the circular economy, and many people use it, and it means so many different things. To us, what it does mean is, there's certainly the words circular economy you would link to a green efficiency type program.
Yeah.
And in effect, that's exactly what we're looking at here.
Awesome.
If you take a business that has an existing fleet of technology and they want to refresh that existing fleet, one, we can assist with removing that existing fleet with partners that want to take the equipment away and recycle that equipment. So when we mean recycle, we actually mean, it's either reutilized in a second user marketplace, or components are completely broken down so that none of this ends up in landfill. That's the first and most important thing.
So you don't have that remining and the re-engineering of all those parts again.
No, absolutely not. They're reused, either in their entirety or in their component structures.
Yeah.
So they've got their existing fleet that can be taken away, and in fact that could actually be worth a substantial amount of money to them. Okay, people are prepared to buy that. So that's the first point. The second point is that what we're looking for is for businesses that want to refresh their equipment through Zenith, buy their new equipment, and then when that comes to the end of that useful life, the whole process begins again. That gets taken away. That has a value, okay, and then that's refurbished and then put into a second life marketplace. So the whole process begins again, and then you continue that process continually, so that we try as hard as we can to ensure that nothing ends up in landfill.
Awesome. So not only are you getting the latest technology with the latest piece, but you're also doing something to make sure that technology, rather than what currently happens is, I don't know what to do with all the stuff and I've got to get rid of it. And and normally what we've seen is it at your own cost. So
Absolutely.
at your business's own cost is to get rid of that technology stack and make sure you've got all the security and all the rest of it signed off. So that's part of the whole package that you guys deliver.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, look, if businesses own their equipment, they've purchased it outright, you know, they have the burden to actually, you know, to dispose of that equipment. How do they do that? You know, that will cost them. You know, there are very heavy directives in place that prohibit them from just throwing it away.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that is a substantial burden. If it's on a subscription model, we take care of all that.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have that concern.
Awesome.
So it sounds like a win-win, Mike. So, Mark, are there any additional thoughts that you think about of the benefit of no upfront costs, this ongoing maintenance? It's something Zenith has adopted. Are there any other benefits that you've seen come out of it?
Mandy, you know me, there's always something extra. And really looking at, you know, through lockdown, we really started to see some of the challenges around retaining teams, and especially, you know, your younger generation coming through. If they don't hit a job with the latest technology and the latest ability to really push their career on, it can be a significant impact to the business. So really looking at that old hire, you know, getting there, I'd say there's nothing worse than starting a role and you haven't got the tools to be able to do your job effectively enough.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to say is that I think businesses shouldn't be worried about considering this as an option. Traditionally, you know, businesses have purchased outright. There are so many different options now, and what we've tried to do is actually make those options customer friendly, visible and transparent, so there are no hidden surprises. Yeah. And what we've tried to do is, the most important thing is allow businesses to see into the future and know exactly where they stand, okay, once they've actually decided to refresh their technology fleet, and then know exactly what those options are going to be and not be worried. And yeah, most importantly, they shouldn't be worried about it.
And I think some of those things from earlier, Mandy, we talked about in one of the earlier, you don't get to that 4-year life cycle where things are starting to break down and you're starting to impact the business. You're always in a refresh cycle. You always got the latest technology driving your business forward. And because it's pay per user, you understand what your cost base. Your user base goes up because you've got growth. Great, then you don't mind. Your user base goes down because you've got decline. You've got flexibility within the contract to be able to do something different, rather than I've spent all that cash and now I'm 2 years in and I've got all this equipment that might not be fit for purpose.
That's right.
That's the key. Having that flexibility is key. And let's be honest, technology moves so fast nowadays. I mean, now everybody's talking about AI. Where will that take technology? Okay, how will, you know, and if you're going to go out and spend a lot of money on technology, pay cash for it, you're stuck with it.
Yeah, look at Teams and Zoom. You know, now we're talking about technology that's way beyond that. So, you know, it's keeping that refresh rate, especially on end user compute.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Mark. I've experienced the limitations previously, so I can feel that pain. Mike, thanks for joining us. And thank you very much, viewers. Keep those questions coming in. For our next video, we will be joined by a customer, Steve Caldwell, who used to buy technology through CapEx and switched to a subscription model like Mike was sharing. So please listen, stay tuned to the benefits his company received and the IT improvements he made. So bring your finance teams, and to Mark's point, maybe even HR team, so that you get to amplify support in your company. Together, we can solve the biggest challenges and create better opportunities to pivot for the next 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.